Welcome, adventurers, to the Learning Party. I am your DM, Destinova. In this series, we'll be covering both D&D and Roll20 mechanics. In this video, we'll be going over the information on your character sheet and how it functions within Roll20. You can use this information with the paper character sheet as well. I want you to click on your journal, and then click on your character. At the top, we have our three tabs: Bio and Info, Character Sheet, and Attributes and Abilities. You can go back and edit your bio and info anytime by clicking the Edit button. We're going to continue to ignore attributes and abilities. Go ahead and click on Character Sheet. To the left, we have our character name. To the right, we have the options we picked when we were building our character: class and level, background, race, and alignment. Let's go ahead and talk about this last item: experience points. You can level up two different ways, and your DM should let you know this in session 0. First is by milestones. Once you complete a certain quest or event, your DM will let you level up. The second way is by gaining experience points. For the latter, I like to know how much EXP it takes to level up. Go ahead and click on the compendium and search for character advancement. Select character advancement. On the window that pops up, if you scroll down slightly, you'll see the standard EXP table. To move from level 1 to level 2, it'll take 300 experience. To go from level 2 to level 3, it will take you 600 more experience, for a total of 900. When you're done reviewing this table, click on the X to close the window. Above experience points in this block, we're going to type in 0/300. The 0 represents our current experience, and the 300 represents how much it takes us to hit the next level. We're going to expand our character sheet window slightly. Now, over here on the left side, you'll see our ability scores, and above them, the modifiers. As we continue through the character sheet, you'll see how the modifiers are added in. Right beside this, we have inspiration. The DM can grant you inspiration if you do something they deem worthy in game, such as role-playing your character well by playing into your personality traits, ideals, bonds, or flaws. To quote the manual, you either have inspiration or you don't. They cannot be stacked. You can use your inspiration to gain advantage on an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check. You can also transfer your inspiration to someone else if you deem them worthy of it. Right below inspiration, we have our proficiency bonus. This number appears in the table for your class and is based on your level. It will be added to a number of different rolls you make, such as ability checks for skills, tools, attack rolls for both weapons and spells, and saving throws, all of which you need proficiency in. Below that, we have saving throws. Watch out! You just triggered a trap. You must now perform a saving throw or take the full force of the hit. Your DM will tell you to roll a dexterity saving throw. This is just one example of a saving throw. A saving throw is defined as the attempt to resist a spell, trap, a poison, a disease, or some similar threat. The saving throws you're proficient in is based on your class, and you will have 2 of them. Those are the items that are checkmarked here. The number in this column is your modifier plus your proficiency bonus. You see your strength modifier here is 3, your proficiency bonus is 2, so you have a 5 here. If you have to make a saving throw, you roll a d20 and add this number to it. Below saving throws, we have skills. Like saving throws, you can also be proficient in different types of skills, and it's calculated the same way. If you're proficient in it, you'll add your proficiency bonus, and then the corresponding modifier. So acrobatics here has dex. So you do proficiency bonus plus your dex modifier. And that would give you your total that you would add to your d20 roll. Remember, if you're in a hostile environment, keep that stealth up and keep an eye out with that perception. Below skills, we have passive perception. This is what your character notices without actively looking for something. Maybe hints of a nearby item or trap. If given a cue from the DM, you should request to make a perception check. Farther down, we have tool proficiencies and custom skills. When making this guide, I didn't really see tools as a big deal, but after reading up on tools, it has some really cool things you can do with it. Say you're a rogue with thieves' tools and proficiency in sleight of hand, and you're trying to pick a lock. Xanathar's Guide to Everything recommends giving the player advantage on the roll or some added benefit, making tool proficiencies a more attractive option. Farther down the page, we have other proficiencies and languages. Can you wear that armor or use that weapon? The answer is yes, but should you? Only if you're proficient in it. If you don armor you are not proficient in, there are negative side effects, such as having disadvantage on ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls. If you're a spellcaster, you will not be able to cast spells. Using weapons without proficiency is a little more forgiving. It's still not recommended though, as you will not get to add your proficiency bonus to attack and damage rolls. As for languages, if you're not proficient, you cannot understand someone speaking that language. All the way back to the top of the character sheet and to the center, we have Armor Class, or AC. This is the ability for you or the enemy to be able to dodge an attack when an attack roll is made. When an attack roll is made and it equals or exceeds the AC, that hit will land. You'll most likely never know your enemy's AC. Next to Armor Class, you have Initiative. It's a bonus you add to a d20 roll when you enter combat. This determines the order everyone goes in. If more than one person has the same initiative, you can add your dexterity ability score to it as a decimal to use it as a tiebreaker. To roll initiative in Roll20, select your character token, then click on Initiative. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this. I'm going to move my character sheet out of the way. I'm going to select my token. I have to open up the turn order as well. Then you're going to click Initiative. You'll see your roll pop up in the chat, and your initiative will pop up in the turn order. The turn order will only appear when your DM turns it on. Next to Initiative, you have Speed. Speed is how many feet you can move per round while in combat. Speed can be used in other circumstances that the DM requires as well. Below that, we have our hit points. Hit points is how much damage you can take before you get knocked unconscious. Certain spells and abilities can give you temp hit points. These will be used before your current hit points. Right below temp hit points, you have hit dice on the left. You get a number of hit dice equal to your character level. If you have taken damage, after combat, if you take a short rest, you can expend these hit dice to recover hit points based on the amount from that roll. Once you use a hit dice, you don't get it back until you take a long rest. Say you take a big hit in combat and it reduces your hit points to 0. This is the end for you? Not yet. You have a few more rolls to make. To the right of hit dice, we have death saves. You can become stabilized if you make 3 death saving throws of 10 or higher. However, if you fail 3 death saving throws by rolling 9 or lower, you'll perish. If you roll a 1, that counts as 2 failures. If you roll a 20, you'll instantly become stabilized and regain 1 hit point. There can be instant death in D&D as well. If you take a major hit that reduces your hit points to 0, and the damage left over is greater than your maximum hit points, you will die. Now, we're ready for combat. Below hit dice and death saves, we have our weapons and spells. The first column is the weapon or spell name. The second column, attack, is a bonus we add when we make melee, range, or spell attacks. To calculate this, you will add your modifier or spellcasting ability to your proficiency. Wait a second, what modifier do I use with the attack roll? This is based on the type of weapon. Most melee weapons use strength, unless they have the finesse property, which will let you then choose strength or dexterity. Ranged weapons will use dexterity. If you're a spellcaster, your class will state your spellcasting ability. In Roll20, you can find this information under the Spells tab. It will be at the top along with your spell save DC and spell attack bonus. The last column is damage and the type of damage you will do. This comes from the weapon or spell you are using. Each weapon and spell will state its damage and type. To calculate the damage, you would add your modifier to the dice roll based on the weapon's damage. In Roll20, this is automatically done for you. If you look under damage, this 1d8 is your weapon damage, and this +3 is your modifier. And slashing is the type. For spells, read the description to see if you would add any modifiers. As an example, we'll look at the description for spiritual weapon. Click on the compendium and then type in spiritual weapon. In the description, it states 1d8 plus your spell casting ability modifier. Below attacks and spell casting, we have currency and items. In this section, you can keep track of all your currency, all of your items. I like to add a section here to make my organization a little bit better. Look, a treasure. You found a longsword, +1. How can you add it to your items? Easy. Go and search it in the compendium, then click on it. You'll drag it and drop it onto your character sheet, and then it will appear at the bottom of your item list. Below that, we have total weight. This is based on your strength ability score multiplied by 15. All the way back at the top, we have our personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws that we picked out while building our character. If you want to change these, speak with your DM about it. Slightly below the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, we have a section we can use to keep track of various things, such as the number of charges we have on second wind, or the number of crossbow bolts we have. As a spellcaster, I recommend adding the spell slots that you have to this section as well. To do that, you'll click on the plus button. It will add 2 more sections. You can change the title to reflect where it says other resources. Name those accordingly. In the total block, you'll put your max amount of spell slots you have for your current level. In the block below it, you'll put your remaining spell slots that you have before you need to take a short or long rest, depending on the type of spellcaster you are. The last section of our character sheet is features and traits. Anything we gain through race or class features will appear here, along with other feats that we may have picked or have been granted. Be sure to read through these and understand them so you're not missing out on a vital part of your skill set. So other benefits with Roll20, we have a micro bar. Anything that you can click on your character sheet, say longsword, you can take this and you can click and drag it and drop it down here at the bottom, and then it will pop up at the bottom of your screen, and you can rename this to longsword by right-clicking and clicking rename. The reason for doing that is you don't have to open up your character sheet every time you want to make a longsword attack. You can also do your strength saving throws or an acrobatics check. Or if you're a spellcaster, you can drag and drop your spells down there as well. Make sure you just rename them so you know which ones are which. Under features and traits and the spells tab, there are little chat bubbles. You can use this to display information about the ability or spell in the chat for everyone to see. That is it for the basics of your character sheet and some of the Roll20 functions. Remember, you can use this information on Roll20 or a paper copy of your character sheet. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your adventures.